Iowa caucuses just 5 days away. As Ray was also highlighting, the U.S. presidential election has taken a new turn. Former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie has officially exited the 2024 White House race. The Trump critic announced his departure during a town hall event at New Hampshire. Christie came to the conclusion that he had no pathway to victory as the Republican nomination. This is Christie's second unsuccessful presidential bid, his first being the one in 2016. Here's a report.
We run campaigns to win. My goal has never been to be just a voice against the hate and the division and the selfishness of what our party has become under Donald Trump. It's also been to win the nomination and defeat Joe Biden and restore our party and our country to a new place of hope and optimism in this country. I've always said that if there came a point in time in this race where I couldn't see a path to accomplishing that goal, that I would get out. And it's clear to me tonight that there isn't a path for me to win the nomination, which is why I'm suspending my campaign tonight for President of the United States. I also know, though, it's the right thing for me to do, because I want to promise you this. I am going to make sure that in no way do I enable Donald Trump to ever be president of the United States again. I have known him well for 22 years, more than anybody else in this race has known him. And I can promise you this: if you put him back behind the desk in the Oval Office and a choice comes and a decision is needed to be made as to whether he puts himself first or he puts you first, how much more evidence do you need that he will pick himself?
All right, some very strong remarks being made by Chris Christie before he suspended that campaign. Ray, if I could bring you in on his departure bit, he's somebody who's been touted as the fiercest Donald Trump critic. Let me also quote what he had to say. He said that I would rather lose by telling the truth than lie in order to win. What are your thoughts on his departure?
Well, I mean, he has been telling the truth about Donald Trump, which is something he did not do in 2016 after he dropped out of the Republican campaign that year. And he appeared very shortly after he dropped out in 2016 with Trump, looking very contrite and penitent for ever having challenged him. So this has been a refreshing change. He's been a truth teller during this campaign, which is something that his fellow Republican candidates for the presidency have not been. So he's been refreshing in that regard. It's not surprising he's dropping out at this stage. This often happens in campaigns where somebody drops out knowing that their support will not go to the front runner, but probably to one of the alternatives. And it's not surprising that he didn't endorse anybody, because we heard on that hot mic conversation that he doesn't think too highly of Nikki Haley's chances. But that said, she's probably the closest to him in terms of the Trump alternatives in New Hampshire.
It's interesting you said that, because that's exactly what I want to ask you. Do you think that Christie's exit could now turn the primary election in New Hampshire into a two-person race between Trump and Haley, with Haley's own positions on foreign policy, national security, and the rule of law broadly overlapping with Mr. Christie's as well?
Yeah, I do. I mean, particularly if Haley does well enough in Iowa, say finishes second or a very close third to DeSantis, then she has momentum going into New Hampshire. Is that going to be enough for her to beat Trump there? I doubt it, but it doesn't hurt her. So if she does well enough in New Hampshire, in Iowa, she finishes second, she goes to New Hampshire, has Christie's support there, and maybe finishes first or very close second to Trump there, then that gives her a head of steam. Now, remember, another key state coming up is South Carolina. She was governor there, a very popular governor. And so she could surprise Trump in South Carolina if she comes out of New Hampshire and Iowa with enough momentum.